Well, it's also interesting too because I think what it sounds like, because of the pandemic, because I know I've noticed this myself, and I'm going through this too. Content is in more demand now, but that
Yeah.
also, so on the one side, it's a good thing because it means content people have jobs. But on the other side, there's just a lot more pressure because like it's like what few traditional modes of marketing were left. It's almost like they're gone now, and so it's like you have to like double up on content. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see what happens like when it's all over.
Yeah, I definitely do see the stress on content. It's like, well, now we need this, and now we need to tell people how to do this and that. And it's hard as a content creator to still be creative with that. It's like, well, how do I keep coming up with topics to create content for when I'm so burnt out? Because in order to be creative, you need like, do you know the 5 pillars of self?
No.
Okay, so I think it's this. I have a self-love coach, so she's teaching me like these different 5 pillars, just basically how to be confident and what to do. I believe it's the financial pillar, your mental pillar, your emotional pillar, your physical pillar, and your spiritual pillar. And so essentially, you want all those 5 pillars to be full, and then you feel really good. Um, and so if you have your, let's imagine that your mental pillar is really low and you're just exhausted. You can't think of anything. And so what you're supposed to do is practice self-care and self-love to replenish that mental filter.
Mm,
So it's like, okay,
hmm.
well, how can I mentally feel better? You could do that by like journaling, you can do that by blogging, like talking it out to yourself and giving yourself like a mini therapy session to feel mentally better. And so creativity comes from the mental pillar. And so imagine that you're so burnt out, you can't think of anything. And so you are told to keep working, create content, but you have nothing left in your mental pillar. You keep trying to replenish it, but nothing happens because content is in such high demand.
Oh
So like
yeah.
how do you like keep up that creativity? And so I'm trying to find an answer for that, but I don't know.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is because I feel like a lot of my life is because I'm trying to keep work like my creativity going at work. I feel like a lot of my life is sort of just like, okay, what kind of things can I do outside of work to stay productive? Like, like how can I make sure I have time to exercise? How can I make sure I have time to do things I like so I'm not thinking about work? But if
Mhm.
the demand is so high that you don't have like you can't do that stuff, I feel like it would be pretty draining on like actually getting cool, good content done. But I find like that's probably why I do like this podcast and do like my website and stuff is I feel like having that creative outlet where there's not pressure on me, like it's not like a business is going to live or die on my content
Yeah.
helps me to stay creative. And I notice like the more blogs I'm writing on my website, usually the more productive I'm also being at work because it's like it's taking the pressure off of my creativity. It's like, okay, I have this outlet. And then that kind of like helps me get unstuck and then I can go back to work and like write stuff for work. So I guess that's one thing that helps with me. But you do a lot of stuff outside of work too, right?
Yeah. I technically have 2 jobs, which is insane.
Really? So what do you do outside of work? Like your main job?
So my second job is I'm a digital artist, and that just happened through Instagram. So funny enough, like how you're saying that you're doing the podcast and your websites, to like feel like yourself again, so you can keep working. That's what I was doing with art. I would just draw on Instagram to feel like myself, and I was like, this is so much fun. So I'm doing that, and I didn't know that when you're showing off your skills and like your hobbies, people are attracted to that. So like, wow, this person is so authentic, creative, driven, um, just really ambitious. And people, I would say like they look at you like a light and they're a moth. And so everyone wants to go and look at that and see the content you're creating on a personal level because that's like what really matters to you. And so as I was drawing a lot on Instagram, I didn't know I was like branding myself as an artist and I was just being me. So the more I'm being me, it's like, okay, Karina is an artist. When I think I need art, I could think of Karina. And so that branding is happening. And then I know some people are coming up to me saying like, hey, can you draw my tattoos? Like that's how it started. So I would create like tattoo designs for people. And then I realized, oh, I can do more than this. And so I started doing commission pieces and just saying on my Instagram story, like, hey, I have 3 commission slots open. So typically I'll do 4 to 5 commissions a month. And I'm trying to clean up that process now because I'm realizing like, oh, this is actually like an income. Like this supports, like it pays a lot of my bills that I don't have to
Wow, that's
worry
awesome.
about. Yeah. And I've worked with really cool people last year, and I even worked with like It was, I would say an agency. So the agency was helping out a clothing launch and they needed a logo for their tags and everything. So I created that for them too. And I think it was like 10 different designs. I was like, this is really cool, like to see everything come to life. And yeah, so now I'm just creating like all these art pieces and I'm expanding it to do these massive canvas paintings. I haven't even talked about it yet and I haven't shared it on Instagram. But I don't,
Oh,
yeah,
exclusive. Karina exclusive.
yeah, it's a
Keeping
really,
up with
really
the show.
cool project.
That's awesome.
And I
Yeah.
think it's going to do really well. So I'm going to get a website running for that. And
Okay.
I'm going to do more TikToks for it. And I'm going to show the process of how to create it because people love TikTok right now. And they also love seeing like creative projects and the part, the part series where it's like, wait for part two to see like what happens. So I'm creating a strategy for this. And it's really fun to do. And so I think that's also my creative outlet because my commission pieces are no longer that um, free. I guess I would call it like free will. Like when you're trying to
Yeah.
just do things for yourself, now I'm trying to please my clients.
Yeah, and that's something that I like this year. It was around the time I started doing the website, and that's something I really like. It really stuck home to me. And I think it was I was reading about or like I was learning. Actually, okay, I'll go back a little bit. I had just got a subscription to Disney Plus. Like my
Mhm.
wife wanted. I haven't like watched Disney stuff in a long time. 'Cause I just figured Disney stuff was like for kids, you know. And
Yeah.
so my wife got this subscription to Disney Plus, and I was like watching all these documentaries on there. And then I just started getting really into like Walt Disney, you know. And one thing that struck me about him is that he was determined to do work that he wanted to do, you know. And obviously, not all of us are able to do that. I mean, it's kind of like the dream to do that, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think there's something to that, like pursuing the work that you want to do. It's not just like you're commissioning it. I mean, it's awesome because people are recognizing your skills and your value, but it's like I'm creating this because I think this is awesome, and now I want to share this with people. I think that there's something really cool to that, you know?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the whole authenticity. That's like one of my life values is being really authentic to yourself and to others. And I think when you do that, like people just know, like it's a feeling of like this is a good person because they're being so authentic. I can just feel it like in my soul, you know? And so, and I feel like when you're creating content, you're putting your soul on the table basically. Like I find this to be incredible because I made it and I think it's so cool. I want to share it with the world. And when other people connect with that, that's when you form like a community. And when you have that community, then you have all that support and it feels really good because you know like it's you and it matches like your audience. And so you can find yourself in your audience and that builds like a really strong bond.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's totally right. And I've kind of found that too with my website. And it's funny too because I feel like people often are usually more interested in hearing about, like you said, are more interested in hearing about like my website and the stuff I'm writing on my own blog as opposed to just like what I do professionally, you know. And even like just like professional people, they're oftentimes more interested in seeing what like I choose to do in my free time as opposed to like what I'm getting paid for. So I think that's definitely a lot of truth to that. So
Yeah.
like
And
where
I'm
yeah, go ahead.
sorry.
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say on your blog because I saw one that I think you shared it on LinkedIn, and I was really interested in what you wrote. I think it was like 6 reasons to leave California or something like that,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
California. And I was like, what? Joe wants to leave California, and I click on it, ends up being like I like just ironic and not leaving California. I was like, oh, that was really good clickbait.
Yeah. I'm getting a ton of people. That's actually, if you Google it, I don't know if it still is, but it was the first search result actually. If you type in like, should I leave California? That's like the
Wow.
first one that comes up. So I'm pretty proud of
Yeah,
that.
that's some great SEO right there.
Yeah, I know. But my blog is my main source of traffic for my website, and that's also makes sense because that's my main thing is writing. But yeah,
Yeah. Have you thought of doing canned content for people, like just writing for them on like
like
Writer's
you mean
Access or something?
I haven't. I haven't. What do you do for that? Like, what is that?
So writer access is a way that, like, let's say I need to get a content piece for the blog, but I don't know, my writers don't have the expertise in that area. I can go on writersaccess.com and I can just hire someone to write that piece for me.
That's a smart idea, but I guess it just kind of goes back to what we were talking about, where like I'm not that interested in doing content for other people, you know? Like I'll
Yeah.
do it for my day job, but beyond that, I'm kind of like, not that
Yeah,
interested.
that's
I kind of
true.
just want to like share my own vision, I guess, you know?
Is my camera going glitchy?
Yeah, you're going like it's going like well, it's good now though. It was going like that, you know, like black.
Okay.
It's good now. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's true. It's just I think I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's a growing up thing or like what it is, But I find that a lot of people I speak to, there's like this clash when it comes to like the people who are managing us right now and then us and like what we want in a work environment and what it is that we see as fulfilling. And I think the generation above us is more so like it's a job, get over it, like work, you know? And I don't know if that I think that's actually everywhere because I have some friends like who are in a completely different profession than I am. And it's the same exact environment, but I would not expect to hear that from. So I'm just thinking, is it a generational thing? Or does everyone just go through this and they become numb and heartless and they just turn into like this corporate slave?
That's awesome. Okay, that's like I think I do agree with you to an extent. I think it probably is something maybe generational, but my take on it is, and like it's probably different than your take, but my take on it is like I'm actually okay with it. Like I'm okay with that, like them, like for example, like people in charge at businesses or whatever, whoever we're working for. I'm okay with them not being super interested in like what fuels me creatively because why am I okay with that? I had a good thought. I, I I think it's because like I'm doing something useful for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm doing something that's useful. I'm providing value, and like that's why, and so like that's why I'm making money from them. But then I can go and in my free time do like it's providing like the means I need so I have the free time to go and do my thing. You know? So like I guess I don't really feel myself like I need to feel fulfilled from my day job. But that's just, I mean, I guess like the best of both worlds would be that you are getting fulfilled creatively from your day job.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that like you can find fulfillment elsewhere and your job should not be your life. Like that should not be like I find my life value in my job and like I thrive off of this because that's like people who are on their deathbed and they say like, "Oh, I wish I would have hung out with like my loved ones more. Instead all I did was work overtime every single day." Um but yeah, I just think it's really important to at least find like excitement in your job or to like at
Oh
least
yeah.
find like that motivation that keeps you there. And if you can't find that, then like would you agree that you just go to your external outlets of what you're doing? So like go more to your website to go more to your podcast and find that or what do you think
Mhm.
you would do?
That's a good question. So like I agree, like so I said earlier like you don't need to find like your total creative fulfillment at your job, but like I guess it's just like a fine line because if it's making you miserable, I wouldn't stay, you know? Like I wouldn't just like slog through the day and at the end of the day go like create stuff and then but that is what a lot of people do, right? Like the starving artist cliche, right? Like the people who work at Starbucks and then they work on their play in their free time. I think that's fine. I think it's kind of nice to find a happy medium though, and I think that's why I like working in content marketing because it's so in demand and it is where my interest is. But
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not going to fulfill. I just don't feel like it should or needs to fulfill every aspect of my creativity. Like, I'm not gonna write like one blog post I've written that people like is like I wrote about like the five life lessons that you can learn from Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know,
Yeah.
but like and like people like look that one up a lot on Google for some reason. I just thought that was a funny post, but like I don't expect people to pay me to do that, but that doesn't mean I still also don't like the fact that I can still write blog posts about tech stuff, you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's just kind of like a balance for me. I don't know if you can relate to that or not.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. That was my whole thing of like, okay, I'm gonna create all these processes and figure out like the content over here, but I'm also just gonna be like an artist. Like they're so different, like doing that. Like I'm like a process engineer when it comes to content of like who clicks what? Okay, what percent is higher? Okay, let's create more of that. Okay, how can we curate that to make it even more trendy and how to make it more impactful on our audience? And then you also have to be so aware of like how your audience is changing and to like actually like stay up to them or stay what's the word, you want to stay above them. So it's like, okay, I want to lead you, like you need to be like the thought leader of it rather than trying to like follow your audience. And so
Yeah.
I think what's causing burnout right now across a lot of like let's say content creators is how do you stay ahead of your audience when you don't even know what's coming up? Like there's so much going on in the world that you can't predict it. Like for example, what just happened this week like the
Oh yeah.
Capitol, just like how
Yeah,
do
that's
you predict
crazy.
that? It's like
Yeah.
there's little bits and seeds that are planted that you could be like, oh, that could happen, but what's the probability of it? So trying to figure out how to be like a step ahead when you don't know what's going on. And I think that's the hardest part of this job right now for any content creator is just trying to be like okay with that. So,
Yeah, like a certain level, like you're a certain level of being okay with a certain, or being okay with a certain level of ambiguity in the future is kind of necessary right now.
Yeah.
So what do you think's next for you, career wise? Are you like, are you going to be more focused, do you think? Because you already achieved a lot. Like you've already, like you
Yeah.
managed like a bunch of people. You're doing super well. So do you see yourself like going headfirst into career more, or do you see yourself like, okay, I'm good where I'm at and I want to focus more on my creative stuff?
Well, I definitely have so much growing to do. Like I just got into the management position 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and I would say that becoming a manager, you really have to learn like your professionalism and like how do you maintain that and how do you make people see you as the leader in the group and how do you like keep that. And so that's what I'm learning. It's like, okay, how do I manage people? And that's like the skill that I'm lacking. And so I know how to influence people. I know how to be like, come on, everybody, let's do this. And like, I can get them all on the same page. But it's like, okay, now how do I delegate? How do I manage this? How do I create them? Or how do I get them to create the content I see in my head? That's the hardest part because you can be a content creator and you can put like all your ideas on a piece of paper and you can draw it, you can write it, but how do you get your ideas in somebody else's head to get them to create that? Because you can't do it all. And that's the part that I'm struggling with. And I think that's just going to take time. And so, what, like, let's say I see myself doing the same job, I'm probably still going to be a manager in the next year or so. Um, but that's the skill I want to learn and how to mold that because that's so beneficial in so many areas of my life, not just like my career life, but managing like those relationships and building stronger bonds with people, but also keeping that boundary. So it's a lot of like learning how to create boundaries, but also creating connection. And that's been like a really big thing when becoming a manager. And yeah, but I definitely want to grow my art business. I already gave you like a sneak peek of something I'm going to be working on, which is this whole um, canvas and creating different vibes for certain areas in your home. And so I'm really excited about that. And my
That's
art
so cool.
business, yeah, I'm really, really excited to share that on Instagram. So that will be fun and on TikTok. And my art business is growing pretty big. So we'll see what happens. Like if this grows a lot, I think I'm going to focus on my art business because that will also come in. It will need strategy. And I really know how to do like creative content strategy and how to place that. And so that would be really fun doing that for my art business, like doing a multi-channel strategy piece. So like on TikTok, Instagram, does it need a blog? I don't think so, but people could write about it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So where can people find you then on social media? Like where's the best place to get in touch with you?
On Instagram, it is PS Carina with a C, so PSCARINA. And then on TikTok, same thing at PS Carina, but underscore. And TikTok, I like to make videos of my art creations. I haven't really been on there, but that's really fun for me too.
Okay, awesome. It was really cool having you on the show. I really appreciated catching up with you. I know it's been a long time, so I feel like we have a lot in common. We should maybe work on some more stuff in the future together. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much what I do crosses over to like art stuff, but I'm sure there's other opportunities to create more stuff together in the future.
Yeah, I think we could create pretty cool content together. I mean, we have in the past, so I can't imagine like the years we haven't spoken to each other. What
Yeah,
we could create now.
awesome. Thank you.